and over to you, Christina.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to Dram and a Dram, local yet global whiskey from Scotland to the rest of the world. If you are looking for Dram's new, more strategic role, the personal and organizational implications with Mars, just head back to the agenda tab and click on track 2, but you're not going to want to miss what Megan has to say, so please stay with us. And don't forget to type your questions in the Q&A box at any point throughout the session. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome the very talented Megan de la Motte, who is the digital content analyst from international spirits company Edrington. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you so much, Christina. Hi everyone, I'm Megan and I am pleased to be sharing with you today the digital asset management sort of life cycle, I suppose, and the story of Edrington, the international spirits company that I work for, based in Glasgow in the UK. So today I'd just like to go over a quick introduction to the company, a quick look at our strategy and also our products. Moving on then to who's involved in digital asset management at Edrington. A quick look at the anatomy of our dam, so looking at our taxonomy and the sort of meta properties that are unique to our products. And I'd like to sort of introduce you to the PIM integration project, which is currently underway. So Edrington, founded in Scotland in 1861, and we now have products all around the world, and our portfolio includes some of the world's best loved Scotch whiskies. So I hope you will be familiar with a few brands that you see here. So our strategy is really to be the world's leading brand of premium spirits, and that's underpinned by our foundation of values, giving respect, integrity, and excellence. So working for Edrington, Edrington is one of these companies that really extends that encouragement to its employees to treat people with respect and integrity. And it's one of the reasons that I enjoy working for the company as well. I've got a short video to show you a little bit more about that. As you can see, we have a great range of spirits. So yes, we have Scotch whiskey, but we also have rum, we have gin and a few others. And I wanted to just start today by mentioning that this presentation really ties into sort of the impacts that the industry has had in the past year and a bit with COVID-19, the way in which we reach our customers. At one point in 2020, I think every bar around the world was shut down, which obviously impacts our accounts. As well as that, we've also had to navigate Brexit and also the Scotch whisky tariff for the US as well. But the great thing about that is that it's focused us in terms of amplifying our e-commerce strategy, and that's where the PIM implementation has come about. And today I want to sort of take you through how the dam is really the life force of that PIM, and going back to what Teresa was saying earlier today, how dam is really a machine that can power other business ventures, and I think there's a really close tie-in there. So I just wanted to give you a short intro video to Edrington as a company. I think you'll see from this video that we're more than just a spirits brand. We've got that great portfolio, of course, but giving back is one core part of our business. And the Edrington ownership model is actually quite unique in the drinks industry. So it was founded 100 years ago by William Robertson, and his granddaughters actually formed a charitable trust to own the business. And today, Edrington's principal shareholder continues to be the Robertson Trust. So just a quick video for you. Great. So moving on then to who's involved, you'll see some of my wonderful colleagues in that video there, and I hope that some of my US colleagues are on the line today. So I wanted to start by just introducing the studio structure. So Studio is an internal digital marketing agency, in which I come under sort of the optimization branch of. So we have a business director. You can see we have a head of technology, as well as marketing, heads of creative, account management, and digital optimization on the right-hand side. So myself and my other colleagues who work directly on the DAM and PIM sit within this optimization side. You can see that there is kind of a wider network here of e-commerce design, community coordinator, so that's looking at social media management, and digital optimization analysts and strategists. So we all work together under the same team to really amplify and ensure we're reporting to all of our brands in the digital space. And we also have some very talented creative colleagues. So we have copywriters, videographers, in-house photographers, designers. So it's really kind of a powerhouse of digital marketing. And this is really ramped up again in light of that need for e-commerce and digital to really be the way we're pushing forward as a company. So with the core studio team is myself, the e-commerce designer and digital asset assistant, as you've seen in the hierarchy before. But I just wanted to illustrate in this slide how many people we actually work with across the company. As Christina was saying earlier, you know, DAM is an engine. It's more than technology. It's a practice. It involves humans, and it can power processes all over the business. And I think that's really what we've seen in this sort of lens of DAM for a new age of digital technology. So looking here, we see that we've got a direct tie-in with our service providers. Hello to Madeline, if you're on the call. The wonderful Madeline is our CSM from Binder. We also have our PIM customer success managers. So we have a direct tie-in with the service providers. We have quite a close tie-in with the global digital tech team, also at Glasgow, as well as the global brand managers. And that's quite an important relationship to sort of understand how the brands should be represented online, how we can really optimize our assets, and how we can tailor them to the experience that each brand really wants for their consumer to have. You can see then we're also working with any external agencies that the global brand managers are working with, particularly when it comes to ingestion of assets into our DAM. We're working with the global master data team. So this team actually sits at our bottling hall, and they look after all of the product information that's coming in as new SKUs, as new products are created into the global master data system. And you can see here, these teams extend on and on, particularly in terms of our marketeers in APAC, in the Americas, EMEA, RIMIAT, GTR, etc. So really, all that is to say that no DAM is an island. We're expanding more and more as we are finding processes to be streamlined across the business, and it's surprising that you can be really creative when you've got a solid DAM kind of core system in terms of solving problems that maybe haven't been looked at through that perspective before. So yeah, my network within Edrington is kind of ever growing, and that's a really exciting thing about this shift to a real focus on e-commerce and digital assets. I wanted to just give you a quick look at the anatomy of our DAM, as I'm calling it. So we use Linnaeus style, hierarchy, taxonomy. Again, harking back to what Teresa was saying earlier today, it's all well and good to have your system in place, but that training piece is really important. So I think what can be challenging when you're managing digital assets in this sort of hierarchy taxonomy is adoption. it's not the same as the folder within a folder structure that we are so used to. So that has been one of the challenges for adoption of our DAM. But I hope that we also kind of illustrate within the company the benefits of this. So being able to find something in a way that maybe someone else wouldn't. So using tags that are quite descriptive, using that empathy of, okay, if I'm sitting in APAC and I'm a marketeer, what language, what tone am I using in terms of when I'm searching for assets versus someone who might be sitting in the UK. So I think that is a challenge that a lot of people will face with their DAM, but user adoption is just about highlighting all the benefits of why you've done this. So for example, a video that we have for intended use on social media, we mark as both a video asset as well as a social media asset. So the user can find it through either of these avenues and without the need to duplicate the asset as you might need to in a folder within a folder sort of structure. And I really like this quote from Charis McGowan. If each employee allocates files according to their individual preference, the possibility of efficient and constructive collaboration with colleagues and peers is eliminated. So that just kind of touches on having that consistency and the importance of having a strong digital asset management team that can really make sure everyone is adhering to the taxonomy put in place and things like consistency of file naming, etc. So within our DAM, we also have categories, we have different file types, archive status, so if it's live or if it's an archive, all of the file metadata that comes in automatically, as well as any additional categories that we need specific to our products. As I mentioned there, so the naming convention are capturing the metadata unique to spirits products. So next, I just wanted to show you some of the wonderful assets that we have created. These are more of the arty, engaging images that we have, but of course we also have to capture those images that are suitable for e-commerce. So, you know, your white background without a shadow, just the product straight on so that the consumer knows what they're getting. But I love these kind of more romantic images because they really capture the elements that are unique to spirits. So like the color, the aroma, the palate, and the finish of the whiskey. That's all sort of metadata that we hold that's quite unique to our industry. As well as things like how long the product's been matured. So we have products from 10-year-old all the way up to 50, etc., varying in colors and in alcohol strength. So the metadata is downloadable in our system and it's optional to download if you require it. So you can also download the original file, plus through our binder system, we also have set up automatic derivatives, which we've seen as been really beneficial when it comes to just uploading your master file, so your larger file with the higher DPI, it might be print ready, and transforming those into other derivatives that can be used in the digital space, for example. So a smaller file that's maybe cropped and it's converted to RGB. We've seen that be quite a useful function across our regions for our users. We also have had to change our metadata slightly for the implementation of our PIM project, which has been really interesting to see how we can retrofit new options to make future integration possible. So we have the option to mark the asset as suitable for the PIM. So that's mostly bottle shots. We have a regional filter, and so we have some brands that are America's only brands that you might have seen in market, and just a great way to delineate between other global products and the specific needs of the US market. So for example, in the US, we sell bottles at 750 mils or 75 centiliters versus in the UK and most of Europe, which is 700 instead. And we have copyright data and all the metadata that is pulled directly from the source file. So this is what an asset looks like in our system. You can see here all of the different fields that we have, archived information, all the other meta properties that we're automatically pulling. Another really nice function is this related assets function. So if we're uploading a more atmospheric shot like this one, we know that the end user might also be interested in using that plain background shot for a different application, for example. So a quick look at the current status of our dam. We've come up to about 1.2 terabytes of storage used. You can see the majority there is imagery. We have an array of our brands. We also have a spot for any corporate information that we're keeping, as well as portfolio information. So we've split our users into light users and heavy users. The light users are your general users that need to come in, download a few assets every so often. Then we also have brand and content managers, of which we have 2 or 3 for each brand. They have increased rights in terms of publishing and archiving, because really they are the custodians of their brands and of their assets. Within Super Admin, we also have users such as myself, who can oversee all of the brands regardless of permissioning, as well as IT and other system managers for that sort of maintenance of the system as well. So I'd like to move on now to the PIM integration. So this is something I've been working on for about almost a year now. We do actually have some live channels syndicating in the US, which we are very happy about. So we're onboarding markets sort of in groups, and we're hoping to see 8 markets by the end of the year, which I think we're going to achieve, which is great. So why are we implementing a global PIM? To become the best in class in liquids on e-commerce channels. That is the headline here. Under that sort of thinking, we've had the 2020 challenges that I've already mentioned, COVID, so changing consumer needs, changing consumer delivery and search, Brexit, as well as US tariffs. We're looking to streamline ways of working across the full company, reducing the time to market. Data completeness has been a big highlight for us. So really having core records of all that product information system, product information management system data, but also the digital assets and how we can provide to external retailers, as well as customers and our own colleagues across the world, a really complete record of the products that they're selling. And in the same token, data reusability. So we have one source of information that should be taken as the main source. Global governance, again, that kind of comes into ensuring that we've got all of the information that we can, from everyone like the global brand managers to the teams in the bottling plant that are actually seeing these products come out on the lines, streamlining processes where we can. That's just been one of the main focuses. And as I mentioned earlier, finding these new challenges that come up in the business that we can actually solve with PIM has been really rewarding. Now, vision is to create a single source for all product data and assets that meet our international market needs, as well as empowering our markets. So looking at the measurables, what we will be tracking, delivering enhanced product experiences, so continuous optimization of content to improve our consumers' product experience, aiming to increase discoverability and also conversion. Better partnerships, and by this I mean sort of trade relations and effective partnerships with customers. One part of my role going forward is really, I just want to get some feedback from our partners and say, what can we do better? What can we build in that will make this syndication that much easier for both of us? So I think there's a real drive for that. Accelerate speed to market, so launch in market faster so that we have longer period of sales. And that one's quite simple. So before implementing a PIM, the market team would be in touch with the global teams for information on sort of a basis where it will be kind of trickled down. The information would be sent via files, and sometimes emails can be missed, links don't work sometimes. So it's just really making sure that we can turn this around in a way that everyone has the visibility that they need, and resulting in basically what we're creating these products for, to sell in the market. And also to increase the brand loyalty and stickiness. So increasing the customer's willingness basically to advocate on our behalf to their network, due to their loyalty, increase stickiness for repeat purchases. So we want to be a brand that, we want to be brands that our consumers have a good relationship with, in terms of we're meeting all their needs in terms of e-commerce. So I just wanted to walk you through this flowchart of integration and output. I've got PIM here right in the middle as a connector. And of course, we have the Dram system as a primary source of information to feed into the PIM, along with our SAP system. So this is any technical information that we have on our products. There's also a nod here to the NPD process. That's a new product development process, which is a step that happens before we have assets ready and before the information can come into the technical SAP system. So you can see from the Dram, what we're syndicating is things like your product images, lifestyle images, campaign images, brand videos, anything that's going to get our consumers excited about our products. And we are marrying this using our SKU code. So that's our unique identifier. And one thing that we've had to retrofit into our assets in our Dram is adding a new meta property for this SKU code, so that when it comes time to syndicating the information from both systems, we can marry them up using an API to push this into our PIM system. So an API is just a digital connector, really. It's a bridge between one or more digital systems to share information. So once this information is all pushed into the PIM system, the workflows come in here. So we have the marketing content enrichment, which we work closely with the global brand managers on. So this will be anything that is consumer facing in terms of marketing text. And then we then have the content translations and localizations for the local markets. So that information is sent out to the markets for them to suggest the translations, or even just localizing some of the wording. And this is what I meant really by empowering our markets. So there's that continuous loop between the global marketing contacts and everyone across the markets across all of the world. That comes back into Global and Studio for sign off, again, just for that global visibility and making sure that all of the data is meeting the same standards. So after we are happy with all of the product information, we're happy with all the assets that are matched, we can then choose to share this information using a catalog for either download or just for viewing. This we found is actually going to be quite handy, even for our internal colleagues, just for a quick way to go in and find the information they need about our products when they're out selling. And we can also create an external link so that we can share that with our customers to come in and download what they need in terms of assets and an Excel sort of output. The other way we can syndicate information is by setting up channels in the PIM. So what we do is we analyze each customer's needs before we set up the channel, ensure that we can correctly map all of the fields that they're looking for with the fields in our systems, as well as providing all of the digital assets that they need to sell. And in doing this, we can create a readiness report. So in the readiness report in the system, we can mark all of the fields that are mandatory, so they must be met, as well as optional fields, and highlight any other areas for content enrichment. So I think that that's one thing I would like to focus on in the new year is really, we're confident that we're meeting all of the mandatory fields, but what else are our customers looking for in terms of assets that can inform even the briefing phase when we're working on new briefs within Studio and also with our external agencies. So the power of the PIM means that we can syndicate all of this information in a way that the end consumer is asking for it, that the end customer is asking for it, including our distributors, e-tailers, and other third parties. If their systems are capable of having an API push, we can seamlessly syndicate that information over to them, and we can make this recurring, and that's completely automated. And if not, we can provide an SFTP location push, so that's providing that data into a Dropbox secured file location platform, and that they can then pick that data up and push into their own systems, or we can just provide a download, much like a catalog. So that was kind of the full ecosystem. Thanks for staying with me in that journey. I know that these slides can look a bit confusing, but I really love it. I love seeing how everything is just interacting and coming back to the fact that the dam really is a machine in sort of the larger scale of things. And I think with e-commerce becoming more of a focus for us, we're realizing that we need to have that dedicated resource for DAM, and we need to share that knowledge across the wider business as well. So that's about it for me. I just wanted to leave you with some top tips for my learning. Don't be afraid to flex your DAM. I think that, you know, we have this tendency to see DAM as quite a static thing that needs to really adhere to things like taxonomy and structure. But what I found with the PIM implementation is that you can bend it without breaking it. And in fact, it is necessary in order to flex that machine that you have in your DAM. In saying that, taxonomy as a solid foundation, you always need to have a solid taxonomy, and really realizing the meta properties that you have to be unwavering about in order to maintain that consistency, because you really need to analyze what the impacts of changes in the DAM are going to have, particularly when you're integrating with other systems. And the last thing is talk to your colleagues in different business units. As I said earlier, no DAM is an island, and I'm continuously learning where DAM can actually solve issues, and just really highlight the capabilities of your DAM to the wider business. Always be curious about what your DAM can do. So thank you. I'll just hand you back over to Christina.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Megan. That was a great
welcome.
presentation. Thanks for sharing everything with us. And you know what? I have to say, every time I hear you speak, I get thirsty.
I have that effect on people, Christina.
I know, yeah, I think it's happy hour here in Europe now. So, but for those people joining in the US, maybe grab another coffee before the next session.
Love it.
I wish we had time for questions, but actually we do need to wrap up this session. So for anybody who does have questions for Megan, she is going to be joining the speakers table. So head over to the networking lounge after the session and join Megan at the speakers table, where you can pick her brain and ask her questions about all the amazing things she just told us about. So thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you. See you there.